Could you just really briefly say what the drivers are that are taking people here?
I believe the drivers are essentially three things. One are the push factors in these countries, the conditions in these countries. We're not seeing this type of illegal migration of kids from other countries in these numbers. It's these countries that have the worst conditions. And additionally, illegal migration is a market-sensitive phenomenon. That's something that Mike Chertoff told me when I first consulted him on this problem, and I think he's absolutely right. It's a market-sensitive environment. Those considering bringing their kids or sending their kids to this country react to information in the market about what's going to happen if they get here. There's a story in the Wall Street Journal today that suggests, I'm not ready to embrace this myself, but suggest that the reason for the decline in the numbers is because folks are seeing that we're turning people back. That's true, that's a good news story because that suggests our efforts are working. But prior to this, they clearly knew from family members, from talking to friends and family in the United States, if you send your kid here under our laws, under the 2008 law that is the topic of all this conversation in Washington, if I identify a child as an unaccompanied child, our Border Patrol is required to give them to the Department of Health and Human Services within 72 hours. HHS is then required under the law to place the child in a situation in the United States that is in the best interest of the child, which is most often a parent, documented or undocumented. And so people in Central America clearly know this because they see it happening. Additionally, the smuggling organizations are putting out a lot of misinformation to stoke this and encourage this further. So they're putting out through word of mouth, through direct recruiting, that there are these permisos, free passes that your kid will get if he or she makes it into the United States that are going to expire at the end of June or the end of July. I won't use an example, but it's like a salesman who's trying to get you to write a check for $5,000 of your hard-earned money, and you got to do it now. You got to do it by the end of the week. And so the criminal smuggling organizations are clearly stoking this, taking advantage of it to get these poor families to pay, I don't know how they afford this, to pay as much as $5,000, $8,000, half now, half later, and really bad things we've seen will happen if you don't pay the second installment. We did an arrest a couple weeks ago where the smugglers threatened to decapitate the girl or sell her into a brothel unless her family paid the second installment.
Right. And
before they would
that's
turn
the
her
second
over.
driver, or is that still the first driver?
The misinformation being put out by these groups is definitely also a driver. And so the way we are combating this is to convey the message repeatedly: our borders are not open to illegal immigration, and if you come here, we will turn you back. And we're demonstrating that we're turning people back. We've dramatically reduced the turnaround time for the adults from something like 33 to 4 days. We're building detention space for the adults who bring their kids, and we're sending them back. That started last week, and we're addressing the kids. And so through action, we will, and I believe we can, turn this around.